What is up guys, it's your boy Solam here, back with another classic WoW hardcore video. The last couple of days we have been focusing on gold farms to do while leveling, as well as show you guys different ways to make gold through farms and professions. Today I want to talk about how you can use the gold that you have made to make even more gold. Imagine you have 100 gold in your bags that you don't need. If you don't invest that gold and you keep sitting on that 100 gold, in 2 months, you will still have 100 gold, but if you put that gold into valuable items, you can simply let inflation do its job and you will get more than 100 gold back. By investing into the right items, you can also combine aspects such as inflation with supply and demand metrics to get crazy returns. As an example of this, when Season of Mastery came out, I farmed 1000 gold in the first 2 weeks, and I invested all of that into items I knew would go up in price over time, and over 2 months that gave me 20,000 gold in return, giving me 20 times returns on my investments, or 2000% profit, or basically giving me 19,000 gold for free. Today I will show you some of the items I am thinking of putting my gold into for the hardcore servers, but investing is a pretty risky game and you always have to evaluate the current price of the item versus the price you think it will reach, and you constantly have to think about supply spikes and demand spikes. A supply spike could for example be during the weekend when more people have more time to farm, and a demand spike could for example be on raid days for items used in crafting consumables that are used for raiding. Because of this, I have made the ultimate classic WoW gold making guide where I go even more in depth on the investment topic, covering all of my secret tips and tricks I have used to make thousands of gold in classic WoW, and you will also get access to a private gold making community where I will continuously update you on which items I am investing into and why. So basically, think of this video as an introduction to the investing and flipping topic, as well as showing you some basic items to look at putting your gold into, and then consider checking out my gold making guide for a more advanced walkthrough and follow-ups on my personal investment advice. As always, the link to that gold guide is down below in the video description and the pinned comment. So let's talk investment. Hardcore servers are a little bit different than most other versions of classic WoW so far, by them not being progressive. All the content will be available from the start, but we can still make some highly educated guesses on which materials and items will be popular at which times. For example, not a lot of people will be doing Naxxramas for at least a couple of months, but a lot of people might be doing Molten Core pretty early. This means you could make quicker profit by flipping items that are relevant for Molten Core, while Naxxramas items might make you higher profit margins overall, but will take longer to reach their full price. Now the first item I will personally be investing into is Elemental Fire. This one is a very easy one as it always goes up in price when people start entering into raids. The math behind this is pretty simple. Now while leveling, a lot of people will find Elemental Fires somewhat casually, which means the supply is high, but the demand is low because nobody's raiding while leveling. When people stop leveling and start raiding, the supply goes down, but the demand skyrockets, and therefore so does the price. As a reference, we can look at Season of Mastery, which was our most recent fresh classic WoW environment. You could buy these for about a gold per piece while leveling, and you can sell them for between 10 to 20 gold when people started raiding Molten Core. Elemental Fires are used in crafting various items relevant for fire resist and previous items, but most notably they are used in crafting greater fire protection potions. These are always in high demand when raiding both Molten Core and the Blackwing Lair, and as you can probably understand, anything that is used for survival reasons will be used even more often on the hardcore servers where you only have one life and survival means absolutely everything. The next item is also based on the same principle, and that is small flame caps. This is used in crafting Dragon Breath Chili, which is often used by certain classes for DPS output, Flame Deflector, which can be used for survival reasons, and regular fire protection potions for those that are too cheap to buy the greater ones which we just talked about. Once again, referring back to Season of Mastery launch, I was able to buy multiple of these for anywhere between 10 silver and 50 silver each while leveling once again, and I sold them for up to 6 gold each during the peak of Molten Core. This item has a lot of potential, as it's something people will constantly find while leveling in Classic WoW. You even start finding it as early as level 20 and level 30, so if you can just buy some of these cheap from people that are leveling, you can make some incredibly easy gold. Now, both Elemental Fires and Small Flame Caps are short-term investments, meaning you could buy them right now and aim to sell them off in the next couple of months for a quick profit, and then aim to use that profit to put into other items with higher profit margins later down the line. You also have Elemental Earth. This one is pretty much just like Elemental Fire in the terms that it's used in crafting different items, but I like to focus on consumables here with a high sell rate and will keep the demand high. Elemental Sharpening Stones and Greater Nature Protection Potions. Crafting both of these requires Elemental Earth, which will keep the demand for this item incredibly high. And I guess, while we are on the topic of elementals, you also have Elemental Water. This one has very high potential over time, as almost nobody buys them early on, but when people start doing Naxxramas, these go up in price like crazy. That being said, you also have to consider how many people will actually be raiding Naxxramas on a hardcore server, so this one could be a lot more speculative. Now, with elementals and flame sacks covered, let's talk about some other stuff. First off, you have Fell Cloth. This is commonly obtained from level 50 to level 60 from demons, and could therefore be in quite high demand for the first few weeks, or quite high supply. This item becomes in higher and higher demand as more people get to level 60 and start focusing on their gear and professions. This is mainly because Fell Cloth is used within tailoring and is used in order to skill up tailoring, and is also used in crafting Moon Cloth, which is further used in crafting, for example, the Bloodvine set, which is a very powerful crafted set for casters, which this time around will be available straight from the release. And back in Classic WoW, this was released in Phase 4. This is an item I think could be very cheap once again for the first few weeks, and then skyrocket in price after a month or two when people get to level 60, and this is also because crafted sets can give people some pretty strong gear without requiring them to step foot inside raids, and to a lot of people, doing raids on a hardcore server where you only have one life can be very scary, but they still might want to gear out their character in terms to do other content, like for example farming. You also have Arcane Crystals, pretty much exactly the same principle here as before, that the demand will start skyrocketing once people get to level 60 and start skilling up their professions, as well as looking into buying crafted gear or biomaterials to craft their own gear. Arcane Crystals is notably used in the Alchemy Transmute for Arcane Bars, which is further used in the most best-in-slot blacksmithing crafts. Because of the amount of warriors there's going to be, this could end up being extremely profitable if you can get them cheap enough. So here's a quick recap of what I would personally do. While leveling, try to save as much gold as possible and make as much gold as possible. Put every single leftover gold you have into items. More specifically, divide your gold into these items right here: Elemental Fire, Small Flame Sacks, Elemental Earth, Fell Cloth, and Arcane Crystals. Once those items reach a profit margin that you are personally happy with, consider selling them off and reinvesting into items you think has better profitability later down the line. Once again, this video was just an introduction to flipping and investing, aiming to talk about the topic in general and show you how it works and give you some concrete examples. There are way more examples of items to invest into in my Classic WoW gold making guide, specifically for the hardcore servers, as well as exclusive information available on the Discord server attached to that gold guide, where I can give you more exclusive advice in a close-off community, because the less people know about it, the more profit we make. So if you are interested in making gold in Classic Hardcore, do check out that guide down below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again very soon.